to Business Ambassadors. I'm your host, Curt Osweiler, and today my guest is Keith Ingram with National Financial Group. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's just kind of start and talk about your financial advisor, and you do some other stuff. You have some insurance and some other things like that, but why are you doing what you do?
Well, mainly because having been a small business owner in the past myself, and I like working with, I do a lot of individual. I'm probably about 60-40 individual, 40% small business owners. But the reason I do it is at the end of the day, I know I've made a difference in somebody's lives. I've helped them improve their financial situation one way or another.
Okay. So either with helping them invest their money or maybe protect their money, right?
Exactly.
The two ways.
Or protect their lives, and not necessarily protect their lives, but protect their family's well-being in the case if they stepped out of the picture.
Okay.
So
that's what you do on a daily basis. How long have you been doing that?
Coming up on, I think, 12 years.
12 years.
So.
Yeah. So you owned your own business and been through a lot of the things that you help clients through.
Yes.
All right.
And unfortunately, I have to admit, a lot of the stuff that I help clients with now are things that I, as a business owner, didn't do myself, and I learned the hard way that I'd made mistakes.
Well, I mean, that's good. That's good that you've been there and done that. Unfortunately for you.
Yes.
But I know you work, and I have a brochure in front of me with a program called Business Killers.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell a little bit about what that is?
Most of the cases, or most of the time when business owners are, they're so busy working in their business that they don't work on their business. They know there's this big thing in the back of their mind that just like, I need to be doing some of these things to protect my family, my business, particularly if you want the business to continue on. And also, so that the day comes that they want to exit the business, they can have planned properly so they can exit it on their own terms and at the price that they want or should be able to exit. But it's just this massive undertaking, kind of like the big elephant in the room.
Right.
Well, what Business Killers does is it breaks it down into 6, basically I say consumable bites. And I've heard that from several people that I've presented the program to. I present it to them and they go, wow, I've always known I needed to do some of this, but I've never known how. And now you've got 6 steps that logically lead you to those solutions. And it makes it very consumable for them to do.
Okay. Well, let's talk about those steps. I mean, let's talk about the different things that you go over with business owners about.
Well, it starts out it's got 6 questions or 6 mistakes. The first one is, I know what my business is worth. Most business owners think they know what their business is worth, but in fact, one of the consultants that's in the program says that a typical business owner misses the value of their business by anywhere from 50 to 60%, plus or minus. So that's a big issue. So how do you determine the business net worth, and how do you keep the documents straight that you're going to use to do that?
So I assume that some miss it on the high end, and some miss it.
Exactly.
They kind of overestimate what their business is worth, or some probably underestimate.
I actually had that happen recently. A number that a guy had tossed out, and then we did a business valuation, just kind of a benchmark evaluation, and he was like, really? And he was off by a couple $100,000.
Oh, really?
So that's significant.
Oh, absolutely.
Then the other one is the next mistake is I'm too busy running my company, and that's typical of an entrepreneur. They're working so hard in their company that they don't work on their company, so they don't plan for some of the potential downfalls that can be out there, be it with employees or with themselves.
Right.
So try and help them work through that, and actually a lot of it is positioning their business so that in the event of one of these mishaps, cooler heads can prevail.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know a lot about that because I work with a lot of business owners that are too busy running their business, or their business runs them because they don't have the right people in place and that kind of thing.
That's a good analogy. The business runs them instead of them running the business.
Right.
And that's really, and that's what we're trying to do, is sometimes pull it back and actually get it to the point where they can run their business.
Good. Yeah.
Another one is that that'll never happen to me. How many times have we all said that? We're pretty invincible.
Right.
We all think we're invincible. It will never. And he chuckled. So there you go.
He got surgery 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so it is. That's one of the big things we as individuals do. That will never happen to me. But the problem is, it does.
Right.
And so it talks about that. We talk about that and talk about things to protect your business and yourself and your family in case something happens. And it's not just in the case of you dying. What happens if you become disabled, or some of the other things that come up.
Right.
Okay. And again, there's plenty of time. That'll never happen to me. Also, kind of goes hand in hand. There's plenty of time for that. We like to think we've got as much time as we want to give, but we really don't know, because we don't know what's going to happen. The old adage is, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
One of us could go to the doctor tomorrow and no telling what we'd come up with. So the best day to plan is today, because you know what you have in your hand today. You don't know what's in your hand tomorrow.
Right.
And then my business is my retirement. That's a big one. That's very typical of entrepreneurs. They've got their business and they think, well, it's worth X amount of dollars and that's what I'm going to retire on. But there's all sorts of things that come into play. What happens when, okay, you decide you want to retire and you think your value of your business is up here and this is what you're going to retire on, but you can't get anybody to buy it for more than this. Guess what? Your retirement has changed.
Right.
So it's kind of planning for you have to plan. A good entrepreneur plans for their exit up here and starts planning today, even if that's 20 or 30 years down the road. But that way, that allows them to exit on their own terms. And then you can't beat Uncle Sam. There's a lot of truth to that, but with the proper planning and positioning of everything, you might be able to beat him a little bit more than you think. Legally, of course.
Right,
but,
yeah.
But there's ways around it, but sometimes it takes some upfront planning to be able to exit gracefully or get the money you want out of your business and not have to give it all to Uncle Sam. So that's kind of the program. And it's kind of like what we do is when I show this program to business owners, they look at it, we go over what's called the risk barometer, they answer all the questions, and it's kind of like golf. You want a low score. If you're the higher the score, the more work you need to do on it. But at least what you have when you get done is you have a process on trying to create all this, to get these things done. And it's something that can be done over a period of time. It doesn't have to be all done today.
Right.
But we can work on it over 6 months to a year and a half, or whatever is consumable for them in a casual way.
So how large of clients will you work with? How small of clients will you work with?
Well, typically I like the businesses to be obviously profitable, and that's always a good thing. But there's things to be done even if you're not profitable yet.
Right, yeah,
So normally I'd like to talk to business owners that are minimum of 2 years in business, maybe a little less depending on their situation, but 2 years plus, and anybody who's running his own business would be a candidate to see this program and see there's 6 90-second vignettes that they look at, and then they answer the questions, and those vignettes kind of put them in the mindset of, well, could that happen to me? Could something of that nature happen to me? It's a really good motivating tool.
Now, if you want to sit down, or somebody's interested, maybe somebody's watching and says, hey, I'd like to learn more about that. Is there a cost to sit down with you?
There's not a cost. The first time we meet, there's not a cost at all. It's all about education for you, and then we see where we go from there. After I show them the program, and we can decide whether we want to work together or not.
Okay, good to know. Why don't you just go ahead and let people know how to get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of me is call me at my office, National Financial Group, at 317-218-2090, and my extension is 105.
Okay. And I'm going to throw this in there since we were just talking about it. Executive chef. You can maybe make somebody, if they come see you, you're going to make them a burger.
We could work on that.
All right, cool.
What
Look,
about you?
me? Oh, I'm Curt. I work with Express Employment Professionals, and we help businesses find the right people. So Keith could be a good partner with me in businesses that maybe he has, and vice versa. So that's something that we do on a regular basis in Hamilton County. So appreciate you watching, and thanks. We'll see you next time.